You're watching the Clean Commercial Transportation Update. I'm Bill Van Amberg.
And I'm Nikki Okazaki, filling in for Alicia Gildy for just this week.
The goal of CCTU, of course, is to provide you 30 minutes of focused coverage on the latest trends, progress, tools, updates, and funding opportunities in the clean commercial transportation industry.
Tune in on Friday, March 19th at 11 a.m. Pacific as we take a look at the latest updates on HVIP. That's California's on-road truck and bus voucher incentive project.
Yeah, that's right. And on our March CCTU, we're really going to be looking at some of the changes taking place in HVIP and also when it will be reopening its doors this spring for more incentives. Also, check out the new website. It's very cool, californiahvip.org.
We'll also take a deeper dive to discuss grid impacts with the rapid adoption of zero-emission vehicles.
You'll really want to hear from our guests on that topic too, and you can during our Update Extra, an additional 15 minutes following our regular webcast.
Register for CCTU on our website, calstart.org/CCT update.
And we'll CCTU soon. Well, and we are going to CCTU right now. Welcome, hello again, and great to have everybody with us for this March 19th edition of the Clean Commercial Transportation Update, or CCTU. I'm Bill Van Amberg, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Nikki Okazaki, who's filling in for Alicia Gildy today. Welcome, Nikki. Great to have you with us here.
And I'm excited to be here.
Super. And if you don't know Nikki, you should. Nikki leads all of our work, not only for connecting and engaging with fleets and communities, but also leading the Clean Off-Road Equipment Incentive Program. So she is somebody you should get to know. Together, we're your hosts for this next half hour of news, trends, and updates about our clean transportation industry and its progress, brought together this week by our great team, our producer, Kasey Okazaki, Alex Gattas, as always, running the controls for us at Zoom, and Whitley Porter steering all of our communications. We've got a lot to bring you today, including a special Update Extra segment. But before we do, we'd like to take a little pause and to reflect on a couple of topics. A very disturbing trend and perhaps a hopeful sign of progress as well in America. Of course, with this week's shootings, deaths in Atlanta, that disturbing trend is the violence we're seeing against Asian American and Pacific Islander, AAPI people in our nation, especially against the elderly and women. The crimes have been growing in prominence during the pandemic and the economic slump. That's the excuse for some, but observers note this is an extension of ongoing prejudice against AAPI people. And I know, Nikki, we were talking about this offline. This is something that is really troubling for you personally.
Yeah, this has been so heavy on my heart. I mean, to see race-based violence and violence against women. So let's all just take a moment to think about, what we can do to put our arms around our community members that may be feeling particularly affected by this.
I think that's such a good observation, because so many friends of mine are feeling fearful of going out, but as an Asian American studies professor in San Francisco noted, bullies attack who they think are vulnerable. It's not right. And we talked about the fear that people are feeling in the community. We are better than this. We must stand together and shine a light and call out what we know is wrong and stand with AAPI people against this growth of hate. But shining like a beacon was a positive sign of progress that we want to celebrate this past week, when former New Mexico Representative Deb Haaland was sworn in as the nation's first Native American Secretary of the Interior. Indeed, the first Native American Cabinet Secretary, period. Now, Haaland is a member of the Pueblo of Laguna near Albuquerque. She pledged to address the climate and nature crises and environmental justice that is faced too often by Native Americans who are unseen to many. She wore very proudly indigenous dress for her swearing in ceremony to mark the occasion. And the woman who made the dress said it was a sign of matriarchal power. She said it was a statement in front of others who sometimes refuse to see us that we must be seen. And they definitely were with Deb Haaland swearing in, Nikki.
Oh, I loved this so much. This was such a shining light and a highlight for this month, especially in Women's History Month. And, for me personally, because I am also an Indigenous Pacific Islander, Awakani tribal member, and I am just so happy to see this news. And with that, I'm just really excited to also say that I'm very proud to work alongside an amazing group of women here at CalSTART. And Women's History Month is a great time for us to really recognize the contributions of women that are so often left out of our history books. So with that, I would like to get down to our very, very full agenda that we have for this episode. And we're going to be hearing from the HVIP team about HVIP's reopening. We're also going to be hearing from our director in the Midwest, Maureen, about the Generation Zero Pledge.
We also have this update extra segment that we're really excited about that comes after that. And we'll be looking at some of the challenges for the electrical grid, not only with the extreme weather conditions that climate change is driving, but with the growing load factor of zero emission commercial vehicles. So that'll be a great discussion coming up a little later. And I kind of tease up our poll for today, Nikki. What have we got?
Yes, let's hear from our audience. Our poll today is to ask the question, what do we need to most prepare for the increased load of electrified commercial vehicles? Do we need more distributed storage and generation? Do we need maybe better integration of these microgrid assets, better smart control software to manage your fleet, or perhaps easier two-way power transfers between the vehicles, the facilities, and the grid? So we're excited to hear from you guys. What are you thinking we'll need?
Yeah, and those are meaty topics, and I think we always joke it could be all of the above. But definitely, I think we're going to hear better integration of these assets is certainly one of the big topics.
All right. Do we have our poll results? The results are more distributed storage and generation, which I particularly love because I love to think about what community solar projects will be looking like in the future.
Great. And then coming after that, better integration, smart controls, and easier two-way power transfer. So I think people hit it out of the park with this one. Well, let's get on to our news topics for the weekend. We have a lot because we've been off for a month. First of all, we really want to tip our hats to FedEx, which has committed to electrify its entire fleet by 2040. Even better than that, they're saying that they will be able to actually electrify 50% of their delivery fleet by 2025, which is a big number. And they say if the industry continues to develop quickly, they'll go faster than that. Volvo and DHL are also doing a very exciting thing in Sweden. They are testing corridor heavy electric freight trucks, what we would call a Class 8 tractor trailer in this country. They're running on a 150 kilometer out and 150 kilometer back route with these two very large trucks back and forth. DHL is testing this. They'll be charging at each end. And this is really showing us the capability of going longer distances with heavier loads with battery electric technology. Sweden is also doubling down on this. They're building a new major electromobility test center. It'll be based in 3 different cities there, but one of them, of course, is going to be Gothenburg, and Chalmers University of Technology is going to be one of the leads there, along with the Swedish government and several vehicle makers, including Scania and Volvo Group. So this is very exciting. We do have some close relationships with Business Region Gothenburg, and we're excited about what they're doing there. Canada is making a lot of investments in transit buses, electric transit buses. In fact, they're going to invest almost $3 billion in zero-emission public transit and school buses over the next few years. It's part of a much larger investment, multi-billion-dollar investment Canada is making. And one of the reasons they're doing it, besides air quality and climate, they say tremendous job growth. And they manufacture many of these buses, Lion, and also from New Flyer in Canada. We also saw the biggest e-school bus deal in the nation, and it was all built around innovative financing. It was a school district just outside of Washington, D.C., and together with a partner, they put together a deal to put 226 electric school buses in that will be phasing in over the next several years. These school buses are from Thomas Built, from the Daimler Corporation, and they did it by actually pulling together a total package for the infrastructure, the vehicles, and the electricity. That means for the school district, they're paying the same price as they would for a diesel bus, it's kind of a no-brainer, and it's really the first of its kind. In San Diego, they have retired the last of their diesel buses. This is actually very exciting. The Metropolitan Transit System in San Diego is being really aggressive on their transition to zero emissions, but they've gotten rid of the last of their diesel buses, and they hope to be zero emission completely by 2040. We're seeing a lot of battery development technology news, in fact, from 4 different companies over the last month. Volkswagen Group, Tesla, and Rivian are all focusing on some really exciting new solid-state battery technologies. In fact, Tesla is looking at manufacturing those with LG Corporation in a new battery design. Volkswagen Group is actually looking at standardizing their entire design function for this and to put into their vehicles. And Rivian is looking at possibly manufacturing some of these technologies in-house. We also saw, interestingly, that Northvolt, which is a big concern in Sweden and the northern tier of Europe, came to the United States and bought some technology around next generation battery cells as well that they hope to manufacture in Sweden. We're also seeing new platforms and powertrains unveiled. We saw Bollinger Motors get very aggressive with its new chassis and chassis cab models for heavy duty trucks, coming in at some pretty good price points, around $55,000 for that whole platform. We saw Magna's E platform, they're calling it the E-beam technology for basically an electrified axle. And Arrival has unveiled specs not only for their vehicle, which will go into testing, their delivery vehicle later this summer, but they've announced that they'll be building it in Charlotte in North Carolina, so forming another micro factory unit. Finally, there's money to buy these things in additional states. This is exciting. We saw Massachusetts and New Jersey lean into this past month. They're forming their own programs. It's called the More E rebate program in Massachusetts, which is extending out into heavy duty from light duty. And then the Massachusetts ZIP program. It sounds kind of like VIP, which is a nice tribute, but they'll be doing incentives as well for medium and heavy duty vehicles. We're excited to see additional states move into this, building on what California has done such a good job on. And Nikki, that kind of moves us into our next topic.
Yeah, great to hear about other incentive programs. We'll be hearing today now from Tarah Campi, who's our HVIP Program Manager. Tarah, it's so great to have you back. Can you remind the audience about what HVIP is and how it works and the status of the program?
Great, thank you, Nikki. It's great to be here. HVIP is the California Air Resources Board's heavy-duty on-road truck and bus voucher funding program. It offers point-of-sale, first-come, first-served discount vouchers to fleets and owner-operators throughout California. And dealers learn the voucher processing system so that purchasers see the discount directly at the point of sale, and also there's no scrappage required. HVIP has been closed to new voucher requests since November of 2019, when all of the funding available for the 19-20 funding year, which was 142 million, when that was all requested within 1 week of it becoming available. So we've been closed to request since for well over a year now. And the funding allocated for the 2021 funding year, which was allocated this winter, is 25 million. So we'll be opening to new requests later this spring with that funding, as well as over 100 million from previously canceled voucher requests that will also be available at that time.
Well, people have been really waiting for this, Tarah, so it's great to have it back online, and there's huge interest in HVIP. What needs to happen before reopening? What are you going to be doing?
We have to publish the implementation manual, which will also kick off a robust dealer training process. We're very engaged with dealers who are needing training as new to the program, as well as those who will be receiving updated training on program changes before we open. So that will be happening in the coming weeks. And then thereafter, we'll announce an opening date so that everyone has time to prepare.
That's great. Could you tell us a little bit about some of the new rules that we should be looking forward to and changes to the program that we can be expecting?
Absolutely. So there are several policy changes that are in effect. The goal of these changes is to encourage fast and efficient deployment of these trucks and buses so that they can really start delivering benefits to California more quickly, and as well to expand the opportunity for more people to participate in HVIP. So one of the policy changes is that there's a cap of 30 voucher requests per calendar year per fleet, 50 for drayage vehicles in order to support the California Air Resources Board's goal to see 800 drayage sales throughout the state this calendar year in that important segment. There's also a rolling manufacturer cap of 100 cumulative unredeemed vouchers at any given time. And that is what we call a rolling or soft cap, because it doesn't prevent additional vouchers for that manufacturer from being requested. It simply triggers a more robust evaluation process by the California Air Resources Board for those that may be looking to exceed 100. And we can provide more information directly to manufacturers on that. Also, there's a streamlined voucher table that's much more simplified than you've seen in previous funding years, that's available on our website. And 0.02 natural gas vehicles have graduated from eligibility, but we've expanded eligibility to the new optional 0.01 low NOx standard that was approved by the CARB board. And we look forward to seeing those vehicles start to come to market.
Right. There's a lot to digest there. And hopefully we get more funding into the program and maybe we can ease some of the rules. But Tarah, where can people learn more about how to take part in this, or at least learn some of the additional details?
Absolutely, Bill. There is a lot to digest, and we've done a lot of work to put it all on our beautiful new website. I'm excited to hand it over to my colleague, Kasey Okazaki, who along with her team have delivered this website. Thank you.
Great. Kasey.
Yes, like Tarah mentioned, this recently relaunched website really can guide our users through their user journey. We really went with a new and improved catalog and pages that were specific for purchasers and sellers, where they can learn more about the project and how to participate. With our improved catalog, you will be able to find vehicles by vehicle type, as well as look through our entire list of eligible pieces of equipment or vehicles. And also, if you find a vehicle you like, you are able to find a dealer that sells the vehicle and contact them directly through the site.
This really is beautiful. I would like to know though, what have folks been saying? Have you guys gotten any stakeholder feedback in the development of this site? And then also, as things get updated on this beautiful new site, where will we hear about that?
Yes, so we actually had some stakeholder feedback from the beginning when we decided to redo the website. And so we took feedback from purchasers, manufacturers, and dealers to really influence the new website and make the website for them. In addition, any announcements we will send out through our mailing list, which you can sign up for on our website, as well as we post it on HFIP's Twitter and in the website in the notification bar as well.
So I think one of the things we wanted to see is that people maybe have some questions about what the HVIP timing is. If there's anybody in the audience that does have some questions, I think please put them in chat or post them in, and we will try to have them answered. I think, you know, Kasey and Tarah, one of the questions that people have, as always, is what do they need to do? Let's say they're interested in buying, they're a fleet. Do they go right to the website? Do they go to a dealer? What's the right step for them?
Right. So there's information on the website about how to start your journey as a purchaser, how to explore the eligible vehicles and contact dealers directly from the website that are affiliated with given technologies. And we encourage purchasers or interested parties to contact dealers as soon as possible to start the purchase order timeline and to make sure that they're ready when the date for opening voucher requests is announced.
All right, we've got a couple questions in, which are good. I think this one you can knock out of the park, Kasey and Tarah. The first, can the website be modified to allow a filter for hydrogen fuel cell vehicles once they get eligible for the program, once they're moved in?
Yes, absolutely. We are continuing to upgrade our catalog and our website. And so too, as new vehicles come to or gain eligibility, we will put them on the catalog, and we are always looking for feedback and updates.
Hey, one other question people have is, and again, you can knock this out of the park, is it open for new applications, meaning new vehicles? And I think anytime somebody has a new vehicle that could come in, Tarah, how do they handle that?
Absolutely. The ability to add new technologies to the HVIP catalog is ongoing. I should have mentioned earlier that that has never been closed. There's instructions on the website for how to connect directly with the California Air Resources Board. They handle vehicle eligibility. And then when we receive approval letter, the technologies are added to the catalog. So definitely manufacturers should visit the website for instructions anytime and to get your technologies into the catalog.
Right, we really encourage that. We've seen some great new vehicles coming into the catalog that are exciting. And we've seen Class 8 trucks moving in. We've seen Class 6 trucks from multiple manufacturers. So that's really exciting. Well, look, I think we have to move along for our day, but why don't you, Tarah, stay online, and if people have additional questions, please answer them in the chat.
I'd like
Thank
to highlight that, just recently we heard that one of our great dealers from HVIP is going to be hosting an in-person event. That is actually a real thing again.
Wow.
April 14th at the tech facility out in Fontana. They're going to have their dealers on hand who really know how to guide you through the HVIP process. They'll have tools and resources for you and a chance to see those great Volvo VNRs in person.
Be nice to actually touch a real vehicle again, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's fantastic. Great for the call out. Well, look, vehicle incentives are critical at this early market stage, as we've all talked about, but as vehicles are moving into the market at an increasing scale, the next big challenge is infrastructure. And we've discussed that many times on CCTU and other forums. That's why we're really proud to share that this week, CalSTART was officially awarded administration of a new California Energy Commission incentive program, specifically for medium and heavy duty zero emissions vehicle infrastructure in California, battery electric and fuel cell electric infrastructure, so electricity and hydrogen. Our own Alicia Gildy and her team will be leading this tremendously exciting work. We're really jazzed. Streamlining the process and increasing the pace of deployment and the scale of penetration of zero emission medium and heavy duty vehicles is really critical to meeting the state's climate and local air quality goals. So working together with CEC staff, we have the opportunity to create what could be a world-leading platform and model. It's really going to be the world's first fast-track, easy-to-use, and focused infrastructure incentive program. It's going to target funds to drive faster deployments and support communities who need the help the most. So this is all just at the beginnings. More information will be available soon. We'll be featuring more about this project, hopefully in future editions of CCTU, because we really want to talk more about it. It's exciting.
It is. No one better to lead a world's first project than Alicia Gildy. So with that, we'd like to hear also from our Midwest team. We have Maureen Marshall, who's our Midwest Regional Director, joining us. We've heard that there is a new pledge program that you're working on. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, no, and I'm so excited to be here to talk about this new program. And it'll be CalSTART's Generation Zero, a pledge-based program, much like many of you know with our Drive to Zero, but really aimed at the needs of the Midwest and the growth of zero emission transit vehicle deployments in the Midwest. Under this program, we'll be working collectively with the regional stakeholders to really accelerate the number of zero emission transit vehicle deployments in the region, which includes both battery electric and fuel cell vehicles over the next 10 to 20 years, and really trying to pull that time frame in as more and more incentives come to the market.
So why was the pledge focused on transit? You could have gone a lot of different directions, but why kind of base it around transit, Maureen?
Yeah, really good question. And here in the Midwest, we recognize that transit is the first segment adopter for transportation electrification in the Midwest, probably the most successful. And why? Number one, we have access to 100%, nearly 100% of all the zero emission vehicles being purchased, meaning OEMs aren't simply building to the ZEB mandates and the requirements on the coast and across the different states. We have available funding, thanks to the FDA and Department of Transportation, to really support the cost differential for vehicles and infrastructure. And what's really phenomenal is here, the policies that are being put in place in the region, most have been voluntary, and people are starting to really understand the benefits of zero transit in the region.
And what are our goals? What are CalStart's goals for this program?
Yeah, so we have 2 goals that we set. Well, maybe 2 and a couple under that. But for 2025, by 2025, we want to make sure that zero emission transit vehicle deployments are commercially viable, both the vehicles and infrastructure, and cost competitive. Which for the region in 2020, we had 400 vehicles on order or deployed. And what we'd like to do is get that number to 1,500, at least 1,500 by 2025. And then leading into 2040. And again, I know this timing is something that I'm really working to pull in. I would love to see it be 2030 or 2035, but really making sure that these zero emission transit vehicles are achieve 100% new sales in the market across the Midwest. And ideally, like I mentioned, that we want to pull that in, and we're going to work together as a cohort, as pledge partners to make this happen.
Hey, we're getting a little tight on time, Maureen, but could you share what can pledge partners expect to gain? I really like this because it's so aligned with our drive to zero, but focusing on the first platform. What can our partners get from being a participant?
Yeah, definitely. It's bringing people together, sharing information, identifying best practices, identifying what the barriers are in play, and coordinating among stakeholders to take the appropriate actions to ensure the success of this program, while noting that, public policy, regulations, and incentives each play an important role in overall success. And together, we're going to make the right decisions and help frame the market.
That's great to hear. So how can folks participate in Generation Zero?
Yeah, well, I would really love to share with anyone that's interested. If they would like to work and become a pledge partner, have them reach out to me at mmarshall@calstat.org. And I'd love to share that more information with them. And as we get this launched off, those initial first pledge partners are going to be key to the success. And I look forward to seeing that list grow over time.
Great. Thank you, Maureen. Thanks for coming and being here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for this opportunity, Bill and Nikki.
Great to have you as always, Maureen. Keep knocking them dead.
Have a great one.
So now let's get to what events we have upcoming from CalSTART. It looks like next month we are going to have a webinar on the heavy duty opposed piston engine demonstration. That's going to be April 7th at 10 a.m. and you can learn more on our website at calstart.org.
Yeah, Kevin Leong is going to be leading that one. We're pretty excited about it because this has been a really interesting program that CalSTART, working with the Air Resources Board, has been able to manage. Well, look, finally today, we've had a lot of news, but we have a sad passing that we really want to call attention to in our industry. A man named Tommy Edwards, a giant of a man with many titles to match at Sunline Transit, chief scientist, chief performance officer, chief cheerleader. Tommy was a straight talking and hard charging person, but he was the first to help and the last to leave. His focus and energy and drive helped Sunline become the leader it is in blazing the transition to fuel cell zero emission transport. You did not want to be in Tommy's way, but you loved being at his side. That's our memory, seemingly unlimited energy and a big hand that was always out there to help. We're going to miss you, Tommy. That is our CCTU report for March 19th. CCTU will be back next on April 16th when Alicia returns to join us. Now, if you have time, please join us for our next special Update Extra segment coming up next, looking at the grid's ability to adapt and be more resilient in the face of climate change and growing vehicle demand. But for now, on behalf of Nikki O'Cook and the CalSTART Clean Commercial Transportation team, I'm Bill Van Amberg. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe. Take care of yourself and defend others, please. Together, we can change transportation and the world for good.